Moscow's $9.4 billion shield didn't fall to missiles. It went blind. You clicked for drones and fuel, stay. In the next minutes, we'll show the exact chain. Perun AI catches a Sarma control burst, Kasuka 4 nodes flood western Russia with interference, and a wall of data ghosts forces the S-500 to swing at shadows. That single heartbeat is all the KH-29s need. The question isn't how many interceptors you buy, it's how fast you can starve them of truth. Watch how a cheap jamming web turned the capital's air shield into noise. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
A fire has broken out at a fuel depot in Russia's southern Krasnodar region.
Some sort of explosion that's occurred at a fuel depot in Krasnodar. That's on mainland Russia, very close to...
The governor said a drone attack caused it near the Russian-annexed Crimea region.
You came for drones hitting fuel. The reason they waited for 7 million tons is simple and cold: a peak creates a louder map. More trucks on the road, more depot telemetry, more pipeline checks. Every link hums. That hum is cover. Targets swell while the noise floor climbs. You hide in the hiss, then you cut. The chain starts before any engine spins. Perun AI listens overhead, sweeping for burst traffic that betrays intent. Kasuka 4 sits on the ground near the border, wide lobe emitters ready to paint a moving haze. A forward drone screen takes the first heat. The goal isn't to duel with the S-500 stack. It's to drain its picture until choices turn slow and wrong.
That attack at Belaya Air Base in Siberia, while simultaneously, thousands of miles away, Olenia Air Base was also struck. Minutes later, locals posted images of smoke rising from the base, with drones heard overhead. And Explonian Special Forces drone clearly shows Russian aircraft on fire. Another plane explodes in a ball of flames on camera.
Moscow's air grid stacks layers. S-400S in rings. S-500 with reach. Point defenses on rooftops. Fighters on call. On a clean day, drones die fast. But then an uplink stutters, an encrypted burst in the band tied to strategic command. It rides on top of the fuel chatter. You don't need the content. You need the pulse that says the net is shifting posture. That is where Perun earns its keep. It doesn't break codes, it marks the rhythm. Timing that doesn't match routine, handshakes that don't belong to civilian nodes, a spectral fingerprint that sits just off normal. Think of a metal detector that ignores the sand and sings only when the coin passes. It flags the anomaly, marks the window, and hands the cue down the ladder. Kasuka 4 moves on that cue. Ground nodes push wide lobe interference that looks fat and dull to the untrained, but it rides with the radar sweeps. Not brute jamming that screams, block. Surgical clutter that bends with the beam, injects deceptive uplinks, and leaves thin seams you can flow through. It's a fog you can steer.
Of course, it comes in the wake of those attacks we saw a couple of days ago, the entrance of the Kerch Bridge that connects mainland Russia with the Crimean Peninsula.
Inside that fog, data ghosts walk. They aren't software cartoons, they're timing and phase tricks that shape a return like a small intruder. Low radar cross-section. Just enough motion to link tracks across nodes. A sensor sees a shape. The network fuses it as movement. The system assigns an interceptor because silence looks riskier than waste. Now the fuel peak pays off. Logistics corridors light up with convoy comms. Depots ping their tanks. Pipelines were with status calls. Filters on the defense side widen to keep the picture. Widening lets in more junk. Decoys blend. You get the same effect as a crowded freeway in the rain, wipers at full speed, but the blur wins.
These new satellite images show a Russian airbase before and after the covert attacks Ukraine has dubbed Operation Spiderweb. The latest video this morning, a burning Russian truck apparently used in a string of audacious Ukrainian drone strikes. A series of videos from Ukraine's special forces show a drone closing in on one of President Putin's prized long-range bombers.
A decoy swarm plays the mirror. 15 TB2s step into the open on a line that radar operators cannot ignore. Cheap. Loud. Expendable. They make search radars radiate hard. They draw 32 interceptors and soak tracking time. For each missile spent, a crew has to reset, and a battery has to think twice about what's real. Meanwhile, the real push rides the edges. Low observable platforms sidestep main lobes and take the side lobes like a dark lane. It's that David versus Goliath beat, speed, angles, and timing against bulk. The goal is not a flashy kill. It's a clean path to guidance. Every second of clutter buys that path. The shield doesn't fail. It blinks. In that single heartbeat, 2 KH-29s get clear guidance. No seeker confusion. No mid-course break. One goes wide. One connects with the guest complex. The win is not the blast. It's the fact that a path existed at all through a system that should have been airtight on paper. You can hear the lesson in the silence after the interceptors fly. Operators look at screens full of ghosts. Command watches engagement logs filled with dead ends. The price tag on the shield no longer speaks. The flow of truth does. And when truth thins, even a capital's net starts to swing at smoke. Hold that thought. The real kill was confidence at the top of the command chain. Next, we map how an AI ear and an EW fog made a $9.4 billion system chase shadows and miss the knife. The winner wasn't the missile. It was the silence. When sensors lose the thread, price tags stop speaking. That's the shift, an EW first fight where you blind first, strike second, and let doubt eat the rest. Think David versus Goliath, but the sling is noise. If you track tactics that trade dollars for doubt, subscribe. Comment your choice below, more interceptors, or more ways to strip an enemy's truth. What would you do with the same budget and a fog machine? Next episode, we test scale. Beyond Moscow's ring. Both sides blind. New rules, same stakes. Subscribe and join a community that seeks the realities of modern conflict.